InterswitchSPAK is an IntersWitch Switch a Future initiative.
Without innovation, there is no change. And without change, there cannot be innovation. That is why here on InterswitchSPAK, innovation is our business. Nurturing the next generation of scientists is our objective. My name is Hero, and welcome to another thrilling episode of InterswitchSPAK National Science Competition Nigeria 2.0. Proudly brought to you by IntersWitch, transaction solutions you can depend on. Over the past 9 weeks, we have all been amazed by the presentations done by our 9 teams in the Innovation Challenge. Team Mercury, Venus, and Earth identified problems in the agricultural value chain in Nigeria and the preferred solutions to it using technology. Team Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, they shared with us how we could effectively adopt technology to improve the transparency in our electoral processes in Nigeria. While Team Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto shared with us how we could maximize technology to provide financial services to the majority of unbanked Nigerians. Now, these teams have worked incredibly hard. It is now time to find out how much that hard work will pay off right after this break. Stay with us.
Can you play this one?
The Good Life is whatever you want it to be. Choose Verve for the good life.
Welcome back. It is still InterswitchSPAK National Science Competition Nigeria 2.0. Proudly brought to you by IntersWitch, transaction solutions you can depend on. Today's episode is quite different from what you're used to. We shall be reviewing the presentations done by our 9 teams in the Innovation Challenge. A jury will sit, analyze, and score each team accordingly. At the end of the jury session, the team with the highest score will win the Founders Award. On the panel today, I have the Divisional Chief Executive Officer of Payments Processing, a business division of IntersWitch, Akeem Lawal. Also on the panel, with over 24 years of experience in digital banking. She is currently the head of cards and messaging business for First Bank, Folashade Femi Lawal. Finally, I have the divisional head electronic banking for Fidelity Bank PLC, Ifeoma Onibuje. Welcome. It's good to see you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ifeoma, from the standpoint of an investor, what would you be looking out for?
We're looking at a very, very simple solution that is disruptive, least cost, especially because of our terrain and, our environment, that, you can't really have an expensive solution to solve, a problem.
What I'll be looking for will be an out-of-the-box solution that is relevant to our world today.
When we look at all the presentations today, we're assessing them across 2 broad categories, the idea as well as the presentation.
Thank you very much. Now we know what the jury is looking for, it is time to get down to business. Up first is Team Mercury. They pride themselves as one team with one vision. Will the vision be clear enough to secure them the prize for innovation? Let's find out.
We are Team Mercury, and we are tasked to provide a solution to one problem, leveraging technology in the agricultural value chain. To address the identified problem of market access at a scale, we are introducing our technology, which is the Agro Market Portal System, and it is going to redefine the market architecture for agriculture in Nigeria.
Our Market Portal System is a collaborative platform which joins different key players in agriculture together using digital technology.
We are going to partner with QuickTeller, and we are going to use their online platform for payment of the agricultural produce. We are estimating an 18 to 24 month rolling implementation schedule towards pilot development. At the last quarter of 2019, we are going to architect, build, and test the prototype of core platform.
Let's hear what the jury think.
I like the way they've looked at the entire value chain. I like the fact that they've thought about how do you bring all of the various service providers onto a single platform to deliver value to the industry or to the sector. What I did worry about was I don't think they thought enough about how do the farmers that they're hoping to serve will get access to this system that they've built, considering the fact that farmers live rural, communication is a challenge, access to the devices that might be able to accept a portal might also be a problem.
We're talking about in actual sense, in real life, okay, they grow these crops, right, they have insurance and all that, but bringing it to Lagos, what about the roads? How are they transporting the products, to Lagos? Those are the real problems. By the time they get to Lagos, half of the products are destroyed.
Great initiative. But the reality is out of touch with the experience of the typical farmer. These women, the ones with feature phones, don't even turn them on. There's no power supply to charge.
Exactly.
And so how do you communicate?
Let's have the final words from their mentors.
What's unique about the agro-markets portal system which Team Mercury puts forward is that it's an asset-light model that also relies on completely existing infrastructure today. So we're not building anything new and we're not investing in hardware. It makes it cost-effective for all the parties and the government.
And I'd just like to say that we at Team Mercury, with our agro-market portal system, believe that we can make true impact to the Nigerian agricultural system.
Jury, what are your thoughts?
For me, the last comment about partnership and the ability to integrate partnership, clarify the key parts of the proposal, recognizing that no single entity can do this alone.
Basically, they talked about being able to hook up with FarmCrowdy and any other companies or institutions that already have similar solutions.
So what are your scores for Team Mercury?
I gave Team Mercury a total score of 60.
From my side, they ended up with 69.
I gave Mercury 67 purely because I just thought that the solution was a bit complicated.
The jury has reviewed Team Mercury's presentation. It is now time for Team Venus.
Team Venus is here before you to present a solution which is supported by a technological platform, Aggregate. Aggregate is divided into two main segments. These are the physical chain and the online platform. Our solution, Aggregate, is going to be constructing various centers across the country depending on our analysis, data analysis. Aggregate is made up of many modules, but I'm only going to talk about a few. Firstly, we have the billing system. We also have the tracking system incorporated. This tracking system helps the customer to see the location of his or her products at any point in time. And then there is the ranking system.
What do you think?
They have lovely idea, simple technology, easy, all that is easy peasy. So the only thing I would say is we're still looking at data, we're still looking at having devices and all that.
I was really impressed by the presentation. I think it's very rare to find ladies standing up and being in front and taking on not only leadership but also the lead role in presenting a group work. It's actually quite rare. I mean, especially in technology and STEM. I also like the fact that they talked about storage. If you think about it, one of the big challenges that farmers have is that quite a lot of their produce actually just goes bad because there's nowhere to store it. So bringing distribution or storage close to the farmers solves a crucial problem. And I like the way they thought about it.
And they're also speaking to a need, an obvious gap in our environment today. And I must say, the little gap I observe is still the onboarding process. You're assuming the farmer, actually all farmers can read and write.
Final words from the mentors.
We believe that our product provides that opportunity for farmers to spend less time, and by implication, based on what even the government is trying to do, that there will be more local demand for our products. in Nigeria because of the forex ban.
We actually contacted some farmers to ask basic questions about farming. And one of the major points is that irrespective of the education background, we have various platforms that can make that happen, from USSD to web app onto a mobile app.
We've heard from their team mentors. Over to you, jurors.
They actually clarified the primary user, which is farmers. It was information we didn't get when you were presenting. And the fact that they are going to use a mobile agnostic method, so USSD, web, and all of that.
Because with USSD, you don't need data, you don't need internet. You know, just with a simple feature phone or even your smartphone, just whatever phone, you can actually, so if they can, tailor the solution, just with a few simple steps, the farmer, since that's a target market, the farmer will be able to, request for his stuff to be picked up and taken to the storage solution. That'll be pretty good.
To reiterate the point about getting user input into solution or product design, that step is crucial in building any solution or innovating in any space.
What are your scores for Team Venus?
Pretty good. I really love the storage concept, trying to bring the market closer to the farmers. So I gave Venus a beautiful score of 91.
My score for Venus was 70. I felt that the best part of their pitch was actually the way they communicated their idea in the presentation. Very strong.
The female did a fantastic job of representing the team. And for their aggregate solution, their total score is 80.
Next is Team Earth. They are the team that wants to make farming easy. Let's see if they can successfully do that.
Hello, my name is Baba Sheyi. I'm a proud farmer of tomatoes in Ota, Ogun State. I harvested 2,000 metric tons of tomatoes last year, August, and I sold only 1,200. Why? I had bad access to the markets.
In our Nigeria today, there are so many Baba Sheyis spread across the country.
To address this problem, we came up with a platform named Farm Easy. It comes with a mobile app for Android and iOS devices, and it comes with a USSD code and SMSs for non-internet enabled phones. Farm Easy seeks to link all farmers with potential buyers. That is, it brings all those who want to buy farm produce to meet the farmers on the same platform.
To make our app a reality, of course, we need to partner with certain industries such as InterswitchSPAK for the financing, logistics for the transportation. We need to work with IFIS agencies, which will also go out there to work as agricultural extension workers, and of course, we're going to need investors.
Jury, what are your thoughts?
My summation of it all is that it is truly digital. When you realize that digitalization is about leveraging technology, that's exactly what they have done. They've covered end-to-end of the value chain.
As a math student myself, as a math major, I like data a whole lot. So I like the fact that they use statistical data, to actually come up with a good strategy. I also like the fact their approach as regards the trainer approach. So they're like, okay, I know that I can't get to every single farmer, so I'm going to take advantage of the agency network.
They talk very clearly about how to onboard and how to engage customers at all levels. And then they've closed the gap in my mind really around financing.
What are your scores for Team Earth?
They stood out with their content, so they have my highest score in this sector for agriculture, which is 87.
They, in my view, had a very clear definition of what the need and the opportunity was, and they communicated that very, very clearly. They got, for me, 83 points.
So their Farm Easy solution was really amazing. So I gave them 93 points.
Well done, Team Earth. Up next is Team Mars, but you get to see their presentation right after this break. Stay with us.
Registration for InterswitchSPAK National Science Competition 3.0 commences Monday 2nd December 2019 and closes Sunday 26th April 2020 ahead of the National Qualifying Examination across Nigeria on Saturday 2nd May 2020. To switch on a bright future, visit www.InterswitchSPAK.com and register your best 6 SS2 students for a chance to win big, including 12.5 million naira worth of university scholarships, laptops, and the bragging right as best STEM student in Nigeria. Don't miss this opportunity to change your life on InterswitchSPAK National Science Competition 3.0, powered by IntersWitch, transaction solutions you can depend on.
Welcome back. It is now time for Team Mars. This is the team that wants to take us straight into the future with their innovation. Let's see if they can successfully do that.
We are here to propose a solution to the issues of electoral transparency in Nigeria. My team has come up with a solution to these problems that leverages on a technology known as blockchain technology.
Now, this blockchain is going to be applied in 3 sectors of voting: the automated voting machine, that is the AVM, online voting, and USSD voting.
Our solutions pose many benefits. Firstly, it digitalizes the process of voting, thus limiting human interference. It includes all types of voters: AVM for the uneducated and for the conservative, USSD for youth and people that like no stress, and online voting for those in diaspora. It provides a no-stress option for voters, and it cuts down on costs of conducting elections and provides real-time results. Blockchain prevents electoral malpractice in form of multiple voting.
Hakeem, what are your thoughts?
A lot of what they're proposing and talking about is at the cutting edge of current available technology. I'm talking about blockchain and some of its solutions that it provides. I must say I was very impressed by how knowledgeable they are about our electoral process and the challenges that process currently faces.
I would love a country where I can just wake up in the morning, oh, it's time to vote, or I can be in my office, or I can be in the bathroom, and I just pick up my phone and vote, right? So it's an amazing and wonderful idea, but there's just so many challenges with it. Even the Western world, the other nations that we look up to, so to speak, they still go to ballot queues and still, do their voting there just because of some of the different issues and challenges.
Innovation hits data. Innovation feeds on data. So if we don't have clean data, how do we even swing a fantastic idea?
The jury has given their review. Let's now have some final words from their mentors.
The team had talked about data, clean data, which made reference to unification of data, which means that part of the collaboration we'll need is for ministries, departments, and the various agencies to be able to come together to ensure that all data from the various data sources are unified, i.e. NIMC, immigrations, and all other organizations that have to do with data currently.
AVRs are modular and are fitted into existing buses. The design is that we would partner with logistics companies based on their strengths across different parts of the country. The thought behind this is that such strengths will be leveraged to put down costs, as these companies already have the expertise to reach last mile locations, and that should be able to give voting capabilities to these communities.
And that's it from their team mentors. Ifeoma, one of their team mentors mentioned data unification. Does that answer or does that clarify your concern about data unification and clean data?
He didn't really say how they're going to go about it. It's a Herculean task, but I think we can start with baby steps because it's really something that needs to be done in the industry, just for so many different things.
I do believe one of the mentors addressed my question around cost. He did point out that there is a deployment of approach that will help reduce logistics costs by partnering with existing players.
We should also not forget that there are a huge number of uncollected PVCs. How do we deal with that? If we are not doing it, start again. But overall,
cool. Thank you. Team Mars, what are your scores for that team?
Team Mars talked to us about AVM. They took us into the future. In terms of how their idea or the need definition was defined, it was very clear, and I think they had one of my top marks there. Total mark for Team Mars, 80 points.
I guess the electoral system in Nigeria is kind of complicated, right? So I just didn't like the idea of bringing so many different machines, AVM, AVC, AV that. I really wanted them to use like existing technology and then leverage on that to do their stuff. However, they did a good job, notwithstanding, and I gave them 67 points.
Team Mars with the automated voting machine. And it's interesting with the mobile agnostic solution, simplistic. And it's a workable solution for Nigeria election challenge, to my mind. So they ended up with 72 score from my side.
And that's it for Team Mars. We all know about the PVC, but have you heard of the EVM? Well, Team Jupiter will share some insights as to what the EVM is all about. Let's see their presentation.
Our goal is to implement a new system which uses technology to increase the transparency of elections and make the elections more credible and efficient.
Our plan now is to totally eliminate use of ballot papers and ballot boxes by introducing our machine we call Electoral voting machine. Now, this machine is actually a device that will have a touchpad system and another projection outwards. So what you do is you step over, then you slot in your national ID card, no more your PVC now, which you have the barcode and everything. So it will send the data, it will read the data and send it to the national database. Then if it is you, and it will actually, now this will be like the second accreditation to ensure, because there could be human error in the INEC one. So now this second one, to ensure that it is you. Once the election is done in Nigeria, to sum everything and give you the result. So in less than hours, the result is already out. And that process now can improve transparency in many ways. It can help us to see what is going on. People will now have that feeling that yes, through this process, our votes will be counted. We will come more to vote and will actually improve the percentage of voters by actually more than 70%.
Let's hear from the jury.
The problem definition was clear, it was crystal, and they presented it quite simply, right? They took an approach of leveraging on existing infrastructure, existing capabilities, existing data, and enhancing it using blockchain and a bunch of other solutions that they've talked about.
I really like this team's presentation. I like that how they made the process so simple. They've added technology, enough technology, to make the process seamless, to show transparency, to show efficiency in the whole electoral system. So I think it's easy and it's something that's achievable and can work.
The solution is smart. It's simple. It's measurable. Also achievable. And Akim helped me with realistic. And it's also time-bound.
Thank you very much. Let's hear from their team mentors.
As the Brazil government has made it mandatory for citizens above 18 and 70, or within the age of 18 and 70 to vote, the Nigerian government can look into making the collection and registration for your national identity card and number mandatory. This will help our process because due to the solution that we have proffered that eliminates the use of the permanent PVCs, thereby reducing costs and making the electoral process more transparent due to the introduction of the electronic voting system.
We are not going to totally eradicate the ballot boxes yet and the ballot papers. Yeah, it's a two-phase implementation because the remote areas where you don't have networks to take care of the electronic system might need some kind of ballot papers. And we're looking at the optical Mac reader technology to do that and get machines that also can count those papers to eliminate any form of manual counting at those remote areas.
Jury, over to you.
I do worry about running a dual system. Yeah, it's one of those systems where if you run both an electronic system and a manual paper system, you might still leave room for gaps that can be exploited or misused.
What are your scores for Team Jupiter?
I gave the team a score of 82. I think the two areas where they impressed me the most is in the way they've incorporated technology into their solution, and the fact that I think all the jurors agreed that their solution is easily accomplishable.
They introduced a blockchain technology, and with their election solution that is smart, simple, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound in their effort to promote a behavioral change in our electoral system. I gave them 76.
I just like the fact that they're taking baby steps because we know that electoral system now is not a very easy nut to crack. So I gave them a score of 95 points.
And that is for Team Jupiter. Up next is Team Saturn.
So election is a process by which leaders are selected to govern the operations of a country. And as we all know, election is an important tool that ensures good governance and welfare of the citizens of a country. From 1964 to 1999, no technology was applied in elections in Nigeria. And if we continue to look up the ladder, we see that this trend continues up until 2015 and 2018.
Our technology will divide Nigerian play as we go into constituency. This constituency will make it easy for easy collation and acquiring of results. This technology now will address issues of underage voting in the sense that you no longer need to register in registration center. They can use your NIMC data to synchronize with your INEC registration, and it will eradicate the events of vote buying, where you can vote from the comfort of your home. This technology also leverage the cost because Nigerian government spends colossal sum of money in election, but due to electronic voting or semi-electronic voting, they tend to reduce their costs, reduce transparency, and improve credible election in Nigeria.
And that was Team Saturn's presentation. Jury, what are your thoughts?
I tag their presentation as TTC, which is trust, transparent, and cost-effective. They've crashed the cost of registration, yet they are responsive to the yearnings of the average Nigerian. They've been able to identify the humongous costs or waste in quotes that goes into the registration of voters.
They talked about what they wanted to achieve, that is eradicated underage voting and multiple voting, but I didn't really see that. I didn't really see how they were going to, I didn't see the how, right, of how they were going to do that. The only new thing I saw was hooking up to the DB, that's the NIMC DB, right? That's the only thing I saw, but still using the same PVC. So if that data is not cleaned up, that PVC data is not cleaned up, and they're hooking up to the hooking up to the NIMC DB, I don't know how all that is going to be integrated. There might be a clash of data.
They haven't really done too much differently from what currently exists when it comes to the voting itself. They've tried to digitize it. But what they've done on the registration side will probably deal with the issues of incorrect voting, duplicate voting, and underage voting.
That's it for Team Saturn. Let's now hear from their mentors.
Part of the thing the student in Saturn team has done is to look at leverage on existing infrastructure already implemented in the country. For instance, for those who have account in banks, the BVN data already collected is going to be leveraged upon to get the identity, because to any successful implementation for election, identity management is at the the bedrock of it. So part of the thing the student has worked on is leveraging on the data with CBN and NIBS. We're also going to be leveraging on the data with NIBSI, and this data will be automatically transferred to the INEC server. That way, those who are registered with this agency will not need to be re-registered at INEC.
What we're saying is that we are replacing the current paper voting process with an e-process, whereby the voters can go to designated centers and vote electronically, and their vote will be combined with those that have voted online via their smartphone and apps, and distributed via technology, blockchain technology, such that it's secured and distributed to multiple locations, such that we can guarantee the output and ensure that it cannot be manipulated at any point.
I don't know if any of the things the mentors said clarified any of your concerns.
They did answer one of the gaps in their presentation, which was they talked about using a centralized database, which is exactly what INEC has today. But the mentors clarified that leveraging or using blockchain might address some of the challenges that you would have with a centralized database.
So, jury, Team Saturn, they tried their very best, but it's up to you to give them their scores. What would they be?
Their presentation was kind of weak and unclear, and I just thought it was a bit confusing. I gave them 53 points.
My score was 65. I think a lot of the ideas still require a little bit of formation.
I gave them 71.
We're now done with elections. It is now time for us to find out how we could maximize technology to provide financial services to the majority of unbanked Nigerians. After the break, we shall be seeing Team Uranus' presentation.
This lady has nothing to do with this commercial. Absolutely nothing. We just used her to get your attention, which, judging by your reaction, we've succeeded. You see, if we didn't pay her, you wouldn't have stopped to listen to how QuickTeller makes everyday transactions easy. Well, with QuickTeller, you have one less thing to worry about when it comes to paying bills, sending money, buying airtime, and much more. QuickTeller, everyday payments made easy.
Welcome back. It is still the jury session of InterswitchSPAK Innovation Challenge. We've heard a lot of disruptive ideas on how we can come up with solutions that would address issues facing sectors such as agriculture and elections. Now it is time for us to talk about financial inclusion. I'm sure you must have heard about the BVN, but have you heard of the UVB? Team Uranus will tell us more about the UVB.
Financial inclusion is the ability to provide financial services to the unbanked and underbanked population. In December 2018, a research was carried out and discovered that 60.1 million people were unbanked. When they were asked the reasons why, 64.9% said it was because of affordability, 38.4% said institutional exclusion, 23.6% said perception, and 4.5% were undefined.
As a solution to the financial exclusion problem in Nigeria today, we are proposing the Universal Virtual Bank, UVB. The UVB is a digital platform that will provide financial services to the unbanked population of Nigeria. This will be done through a USSD service that will allow users all across the country to access and utilize our platform.
That you go through the USSD, the mobile app or the agents. Using the USSD is quite simple. You just dial our code, which is *247#. Then you have to select your preferred language for effective communication. Then you have to select your PIN. When you select your PIN, you're free. Then you have access to all these wonderful financial services. You can transfer money, buy airtime, and what have you. Then you can enter the account number, the phone number of the person in case you want to transfer money. Then for people who don't have phones or telecom is not available, you can just meet an agent, a nearby agent, to do the registration for you. Then in case you want to make any transaction, you can always go back to the agent. The agents will help you carry out this function.
Wow, that was absolutely brilliant. The essence of this innovation challenge is to make sure that we reach out to the millions of Nigerians that are yet to be banked, the unbanked Nigerians. Well, Ashade, I'm sure this is your core area.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
From what they have explained to us, interesting because it shows that it was well thought of. The only gap I'm seeing is I'm not sure they are well informed about what is happening in the digital world today, where financial inclusion is concerned.
I like that they focused on simplicity. I think they talked about in building their solutions, they want to keep it simple. And I think you can't run away from that. As you go into financial inclusion, the simpler, the better. Maybe two things I would have suggested in terms of what they could have added is around understanding the financial flows. If I'm a villager or a farmer or an artisan, what do I really need? Deposits, loans, payments. I mean, it's kind of important to understand that as well.
I like the fact that they also looked at the wallets that they're creating. Okay, having interest, I think they said 2% interest on the savings.
Yeah.
You know, that's actually nice. So that would encourage, you know, the unbanked to actually put their money if they feel that they can get that interest. And also offering loans, you know, that's another thing that, you know, the unbanked would like. So I think those are some pluses for me.
And that's the review for Team Uranus. It is time to hear from the team mentors.
We actually built a solution that could actually aid economic empowerment. And using artificial intelligence, you could actually match the opportunities available vis-a-vis the people who needed to receive loans or any other social things to actually aid their businesses.
With a central solution, when we have all the things put into one platform, it is easier for everybody to be able to have access to this solution. One key factor is the fact that you need a central body pushing this, which we believe will be central bank, in conjunction with the government to drive this idea and this solution to the end.
My able jurors, what are your final thoughts?
So empowering the girl child touches me. That's added a lot of value to it. Because the moment you educate the girl child, you're already impacting the community.
In addition to the points that Folashade raised, they talked about regulation and central bank and a central coordinating entity to drive an initiative such as this is super crucial. At the risk of sounding like a broken record, I think that then needs to also be expanded to include all of the partnerships that will be required to deliver this. Regulators, financial institutions, agent networks, and maybe telecommunications and other providers as well.
Jury, you've just seen Team Uranus' presentation. What are your scores?
I really like the out-of-the-box thinking in Team Uranus' presentation. My score is 87.
I gave Team Uranus 83 points.
Their presentation is well thought out and well researched, enriched with microloans and new add-ons. So from my hand, they ended up with 74.
That's it for Team Uranus. Up next is Team Neptune.
And we're tasked to find out how we can maximize technology to provide financial services to the unbanked Nigerians. You may ask yourself, who are the unbanked Nigerians? These are the Nigerians who lack access to financial services because they do not have bank accounts. Proximity to banks. In the community, there are no banks around, so getting to a bank poses a difficult task for many of them. Low income. Some of them earn very little money, so they would like to keep it to themselves instead of giving it to the bank.
And our solution is called AirBank. The name is derived from airtime banking. Now, AirBank is a mobile-based system which leverages on USSDs. It gives airtime monetary value such that people can transact with airtime, and it uses phone numbers as account numbers. Now, here's how it works. We have simplified the workings of AirBank in 4 steps.
Benefits of AirBank. The first one is no minimum amount is required. The customer's income is not necessary. He only needs to go to airtime sellers around this neighborhood to buy airtimes there and then load it on his phone, and it has monetary values.
Well, let's hear what our jury have to say.
A lot of the ideas were completely out of what is normal, right? A lot of the answers that were given showed that they actually put quite a bit of thought into how the solution would work and the problems that it will solve. I think they based their presentation on ubiquity of phones and airtime. And if people already have that, then why don't we transact with what we already have?
I love the fact that they're attaching monetary value to airtime, because today, and they're even thinking about the feature phone users, because that's the majority of the consumers, right? Sure. Most consumers don't have smartphones, let's just be honest. It's less than 1%. So most people have feature phones, and those are the people that we're trying to attract. And they've realized that, okay, in order for these people to use their feature phones, which they use, then they buy airtime, right? They've identified the fact that they can buy that airtime anywhere. So it's easy for these consumers to buy the airtime than for them to look for a bank or look for an agent or look for, something to do a transaction. So if that same airtime that they buy can be transferred to monetary value, then that's a big plus.
They've looked into the value chain. They've seen what is going on in the markets. They've done their research, and they are well-informed kids. The rest of us across the table, the Interswitch of this world, the First Bank of this world, and Fidelity of this world, to go back and say, okay, we can actually make this work. So it's not like the telcos are coming to cannibalize my revenue. We could have a partnership, a collaboration. You have the airtime, I have the money. I'm insured to settle. So you don't have to eat out of my pie. There's big enough pie for everyone to share from.
Today we know that CBN has actually put out a policy whereby customers or telcos cannot use closed-scheme electronic value to carry out a financial transaction. We are proposing that as a collaborative solution, both the banks, telcos, and the service providers will go to liaise with CBN to make changes to that policy to help drive this initiative. And we know that this initiative will provide an increase in financial inclusion for the unbanked Nigerian.
The most important thing about their solution is that they factored in the northern region of the country, where we have the largest number of unbanked Nigerians. And through simple USSD technology, they've come up with a way whereby we can reach out to all the illiterate people, the people that are in extremely remote areas. As we all know, currently there are over about 170 million SIM card registered in Nigeria. So imagine if they're able to achieve at least a 30% conversion rate of those numbers, it will significantly drop down the number of unbanked Nigerians.
Jury, what are your final thoughts?
If only we can get the agreement of the telcos for the banks to go together as one, then Nigeria digital infrastructure as regards payment service bank will be truly a winning combination.
The mentors did also expand the thinking around the impact, around how it will impact remote Nigeria. And I think that's also added to help us see in real terms how this will have an impact, not only in the urban and semi-urban, but also in the rural and remote areas of the country.
The jury, you've reviewed their presentation. Now it's time for you to score them.
They did a fantastic job of financial inclusion presentation with 78 score.
I scored 74, and I think the only areas was just the fact that from an implementation point of view today, we all need to go and think about how it's going to work.
I love the name AirBank. It's so cool, so today, so fintechy, even though they're still in my market share. But because of that, I gave them 100 points.
100 points?
Yes,
I think that is record breaking.
It is.
Well, Team Neptune has just scored 100 points, but of course you know that at the end of the day we have to collate all the results, and then the cumulative highest score will win the Innovation Challenge. The jury has reviewed the presentations done by the 8 teams in the Innovation Challenge, and we're down to the final team, which is Team Pluto.
Financial inclusion is the provision of financial services such as payments, savings, credits, and others to a majority of the financially excluded people in Nigeria. The second, being unbanked, refers to people who do not have access to these financial services. We came up with a problem statement, which is design a financial inclusion strategy that leverages the use of technology to solve the challenges of access to financial services, lack of identification documents, and low literacy levels for the unbanked population.
So our first step is to partner with these telecommunication agents. Now, to address the issue of low literacy levels among the unbanked Nigerians, we're proposing a simple solution. We're also going to partner with banks in this solution. So once you create a mobile wallet account or a bank account with us, we create automatically a virtual card for you. Let's say, for example, you're a Hausa man, you don't understand English. So you put Hausa. So the system recognizes that you put Hausa at the point of your registration. What happens next? The system begins to interact with you in Hausa. Call this natural language processing, artificial intelligence.
It is now time to find out what the jurors think.
I love the Interswitch link in the value chain. It's interesting. The teamwork, the presentation, the boldness, and their confidence about what they have got to offer. The employment of artificial intelligence also spots on. Partnership, access to finance, interesting. But I must debunk the idea that only 40 or 30% of local government in Nigeria has financial services provision.
I like the way Team Pluto were able to identify their problem statements. That was actually quite good and very concise.
Yeah.
I like the fact that they talked about partnerships with all the different stakeholders. You know, that was pretty good. I also like the fact, like Falashade said, how about they talked about artificial intelligence, the interactive language. So they have a virtual card that you'll use to know if that at the point of registration they'll select the language that they want, and then when they go over to whatever location, whatever agent, they'll know the language to be communicated with.
I do like the way they define their problem statement. To be honest, it left me with a lot of anticipation, but the actual solution didn't live up to that expectation. For example, I do personally believe that one of the biggest challenges with financial inclusion today is really identity documents, where if you look at the largest trustworthy database of identity in the country is less than 50 million records, right? Which means that the remaining 50 million adults and the remaining 70 million young and old people don't have an identity document to speak of. And I believe that until you solve the identity problem, truly you cannot solve the financial inclusion problem.
That's the jury's review for Team Pluto. I'm sure their team mentors have something to say.
We pretty much focus on 3 core areas based on the problems that were identified, which was primarily focused on the lack of identification documents, the fact that proximity to financial services is very limited in those areas where the majority of the unbanked lives. And we also identified the fact that people that fall within that unbanked category as well are pretty much illiterate.
Today, the telcos have been giving the PSB licenses, and we're saying, look, you have this data, you have all the information that is required to open accounts based on the minimum requirements. We can leverage on this data as opposed to people having to go through this registration process all over again.
Jury, your final thoughts.
The mentors did point out something that nobody else has actually talked about, is the revenue model. How do you make this profitable to attract the right investments to make this happen? Some people think financial inclusion should be a CSR, corporate social responsibility. But I think you will only succeed really if you create a revenue model and a profitability model that makes it sustainable in the long term. So I think it's a good addition.
Jury, you've seen Team Pluto's presentation, you've given your review. What are their scores?
Team Pluto did very well, but I struggled to see the out-of-the-box innovation in their presentation. They got 74.
I thought it was cool the way they used the artificial intelligence to do like an interactive language stuff. So for Pluto, I gave them 75 points.
In terms of problem definition, you got excellent scores from me, 78.
And there you have it. Our jury have analyzed and of course scored each of these teams. William Pollard once said that learning and innovation go hand in hand. And that is why each of these teams were actually given specific tasks and unique problems in order for them to think outside of the box. It is now time for us to find out which of these teams had the most outstanding innovation. But that would be right after the break. Stay with us.
Penicillin, ethanol, flour, sugar, glue, whiskey, cornstalk, starch, oil, livestock feed, all from corn. You will discover endless opportunities when you search deeper, and to enjoy their full worth, you need an innovative payment solutions partner that creates value from the obvious and sees opportunity in the not so obvious.
IntersWitch, transaction solutions you can depend on.
Welcome back. It is still a jury session of InterswitchSPAK National Science Competition Nigeria 2.0. We've all heard the scores, the individual team scores. It is now time for our able panel of jurors to discuss what stood out for them in each of these topics.
Maybe we should start with the agriculture. Again, I reiterate that agriculture is such an important part of our economy and the biggest sector of the economy. For me, Team Earth stood out. The name of this product, Farm Easy, the presentation, the delivery, the incorporation of technology, the partnership networks that they created. I think that was really powerful. I don't know what you think.
Where research with statistics, the presentation skills, the teamwork, the seamlessness of their value chain and how they have it all laid out. They are standing.
I liked the approach as regards train the trainer, because they realized that it's not just about creating the platform, accepting the platform, that it really has to get to the farmer, to the last man. And they realized that they have to use the agency network. So Team Earth struck out Farm Easy.
So in agriculture, it's Team Earth?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
What about elections? Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn.
Yes, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, right? Yeah.
Team Jupiter has demonstrated how there can be transparency leveraging blockchain technology. They made their solution smart.
Actually liked very much both Mars and Jupiter. I think the solutions were similar. They both leveraged blockchain. Although I would probably say that Team Mars had a much better definition of the problem and a much better communication of their idea. But really, in terms of the technology that was incorporated, the soundness of the ideas, I was kind of leaning a little bit too much towards Team Jupiter, to be honest.
Yeah, for me, I think Jupiter, first of all, said, okay, what do I want to achieve? I want to try to increase by 70% the number of people that will come out to vote. And they decided, okay, I can leverage on technology to achieve this. So they were kind of like systematic in their approach, which was pretty good. Team Jupiter really struck out for me.
So it sounded like we're aligned behind Jupiter.
Jupiter is a winner for that sector.
All right. In the final segment, which is financial inclusion. Now, again, this is an area where it's almost an area of expertise, should I say? For many of the members of this panel, I'm most likely, I preferred Team Uranus. But if you give somebody 100 marks.
Yes, they really went outside the box. You know, they decided that, okay, let's first have a cool name, Air Bank. I mean, how cool is that? A lot of people want money, and if I can get that money to them in a very easy way, you know, I mean, I think that works, right?
They had a well thought out and well articulated presentation, powerful graphics to tell their story. They actually connected with me on their journey. So that is story to tell, and you can actually follow them, knowing that they are going somewhere. And of course, as if he had rightly said, where they ended up is to challenge every one of us on this jury today, that we should go back and rethink collaboration and rethink financial inclusion, leveraging technology in another way. So for me, they have the highest.
I suspect that the ladies have overruled me on this one.
Whoa!
No, so I mean, Air Bank, fantastic brand, fantastic product.
Yeah.
I think for me, I just still can't get beyond, can we really implement it? What it will take will require us to change not only regulation, but also some basic elements of the financial services system for today. But it appears
everything is possible
by popular demand in this sector. It will be Team Neptune, I guess. Okay.
Confirmed.
You've heard from the jury, and I know that the big question now is which team has the highest score? Which team will win the Founders Award? Which team will be the winner of the Innovation Challenge? Only the jury can answer that. Jury?
I think they've all been amazing, really.
They have.
And to think that they had
Kudos
just
to
48
them.
hours, you know, to plan this, and they're just teenagers. I don't know what I was doing when I was 15, if I was thinking about the problems of this country.
Or
I don't
just
think
reading
so.
news and boom.
Exactly.
And catching up with that chase.
At least you have no smartphones and video games. But yeah, it's really been difficult. Great presentations, very intelligent ideas, ideas that have challenged our thinking, expanded our views of, I mean, pretty much every one of the sectors. And I personally think some of these ideas are actually ideas that you can take, develop, and actually use to begin to solve problems in this country. Again, kudos to all the students for the fantastic work and the hard work that you have put into this. Well done. So based on the total scores that have been shared and computed and calculated, the second runner-up with the third highest score is Team Neptune with a total score of 252 points.
Nice.
Good job.
My competitors.
Good job to them.
In second place, or first runner-up, with a total points, and this is just a 1 mark difference between second and third, is Team Jupiter with 253 points.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Team Jupiter. Awesome.
Well done. But unfortunately, there can only be one winner. And I think this is a unanimous decision across all the judges. With the highest score total, solving one of the problems in our agricultural sector, Team Earth with 263 points.
Woo! For Farm Easy.
Are the winners of the Founders Award for their product Farm Easy.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Team
I think
Earth.
that speaks to the fact that Nigerians like food, right?
As long as you don't say it's a king that likes food.
Congratulations to Team Earth. They are the winners of the Innovation Challenge. They've won for themselves the Founders Award. I cannot wait to see how this big idea of them will come to fruition. Innovation is the calling card into the future. We recognize that fact here on InterswitchSPAK. And that is why we try as much as possible to encourage our young scientists to imbibe the spirit of innovation. I would like to thank our able jury. Thank you very much for taking out your time to actually sit down, analyze, and score each of these teams appropriately. We appreciate you, and we're sure that with your reviews, all of these teams will actually go back to the drawing board, and of course, the stakeholders will pick one or two things from this presentation. Don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms at InterswitchSPAK. Kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel at InterswitchSPAK. My name is Hero, and till I catch you next week, same time, same station, it's bye for now.
InterswitchSPAK is an InterSwitch Switch a Future initiative.